Hello there, this is Jake Williams, and this is my final weekly devlog video. So obviously the deadline for this section of the work was yesterday, and I'm just recording my weekly devlog after I've actually written the devlog. So this is 18th of May. So if we start with what I've achieved this week, I have written it down on my devlog video. Here we go. So this was last week's weekly devlog, devlog 3. So as I said, moving to Friday, I finished adding all the interactive elements and completed the alpha build. So see, last week I moved into working on developing my pixel art and starting to move into my beta build, which also I finished within this week because yeah, there wasn't a lot to do in terms of just adding artwork and audio. So here we are, devlog 4. As I said, I have to have the written devlog here, just haven't done the video, which is also this what I'm recording now. So the final week of development, obviously set out some daily targets, which obviously on my Gantt chart, and I said about last week that I would continue to update my Gantt chart right until the end of the project. So I've still been sticking to that, and so I started to develop and design my art assets. So that was so I carried out extended research just to fully understand the techniques that I was experimenting with, which came from my primary research in my process research report. So if we go that contextual research report, so if we go here, this was where I looked at all the different techniques. So I looked at 2 planning techniques for level planning, game design, scheduling, time management, which also I utilised in my Gantt chart here. But see, as we moved down, I looked into lighting effects, inventory systems, shadows and water reflections, and also pixel art shading techniques. So see, this was the initial research into the pixel art shading techniques. So I looked at down here at the bibliography. So here we go. So this was my primary research that I gathered for the pixel art shading techniques, and they were completely different to what I looked at in my secondary sources because they mostly just stated like sort of do this, do that, you shade this part here. It wasn't really in depth as to what I had to do, and I had a really detailed response from the person here who said about using different sort of shifting techniques. So we had hue shifting, dithering, or how do you say it, dithering, uh, and so that's obviously where you use alternating pixels to create sort of like a hatch effect to create a nice sort of shade around the edge of an object. So they gave me the example of drawing a lemon. You'd have different shifts in colours, so you can go from a bright orange for the very light parts to a very dark purple for the more shady parts of the object. So I thought this was really great, and from that initial research that I did, I don't think I fully understood, sorry, um, how I was going to achieve the level of quality in my pixel art that I wanted to. Um, so that's why I decided to carry out extended research um, into these techniques by using the second primary sources I gathered and using the guides and links that they gave me. So if we go to my experimentation, obviously I've shown you this last week and the week before with the different techniques that I used. But if we go down to the bottom here, here it is. Pixel art shading extended research experimentation. So see, this is just another research report, just a very quick research report, but it goes into depth about sort of the techniques that they presented to me. So here, I looked at the one of the sources that was handed to me was to use this low spec website, and so low spec was given to me by this person here. So they said there are plenty of tutorials on low specs. I recommend you watch this person's tutorial. It's better, which deeply explains these topics into just shading, in particular for environmental objects, and just for sort of creating a 3D effect for my top-down pixel art game. So obviously, after looking at the low spec website, I found Royal Den Studios here. They had a really nice video explaining and breaking down all the different techniques of achieving a nice shade. And after that, I was able to compare this with what this person here from my primary research presented to me, and they sort of supported each other. So I've written that here, and I carried out practical experimentation, which you can see here. So if we look at the smaller object here, we can see a nice little shade around the bottom. You'll see I've changed the colours, sort of hue of the colours, so it's lighter in the lighter parts, darker in lighter parts, etc. So that gives it a nice 3D effect to make it look like an orb. So obviously I said about what I got from it. So obviously I said that this was obviously quite tricky to understand at first, because obviously I've never really looked into shading. I've just sort of used just sort of plain colours really. I haven't really added any depth to my pixel art before, and I said that this would be more suitable for a smaller pixel art sort of object or sprite, if you will. So yeah, going from that, I then looked at hue shifting. So obviously hue shifting can be utilised with dithering here. So you can sort of use it, combine the two to create a really nice, smooth effect. So as you here on the left, this has no hue shifting at all. So as you can see, it's just lighter and darker colours there. So it's all one shade of colour, and the same here. Whereas on the right, we have this is an example of hue shifting here, presented by this person here that I found. And this, as you can see here, we've got a nice sort of yellowy sort of brown colour here, and then it sort of goes out into sort of like here, I want to say probably brighter, sort of darker, orangey, browny colour, and also you've got the purple into the pink, so it gives it a nice sort of effect. It sort of pops off the page, and if you look at the shadows, they're sort of a bluey colour, so that makes it pop more. Whereas if you look at the left one, it doesn't really stand out to me. I'm instantly drawn towards the right asset here. So I wanted to achieve something like this, so I carried out this practical experimentation here. So as you can see, I have, here we go. So this is the lemon that I was talking about from my primary source. She said a great example to use is a lemon, and because you see you've got that varying colour there, and also you've got the texture. So obviously you can see here, probably quite faded, but zoom out a bit. Okay, so here we've got the dithering. So obviously you've got the bright yellow against the sort of darker, sort of whitey, browny colour. Don't know what to call it really, but that gives it a really nice sort of texture, especially at a large distance away from it. And also we can see the utilisation of my hue shifting, because I have used sort of like darker, muddier sort of yellow here, and as it goes up, it progresses through the color scale up until a very, very bright white. So obviously we can see the light is light sources from here, from this angle, and obviously the colors sort of deplete, or the hue sort of shifts down from there. And from what I got from this experimentation really is that is my understanding sort of evolved, and the extended research was, imperative for my progression in pixel art. And as you'll see later in my playtest feedback, um, everybody's been really pleased with my pixel art after utilizing these techniques, and it's just really boosted my confidence in pixel art because, as I said in my SWOT analysis and pre-mortem back in context, here we go. I said weaknesses. I believe that my weakest attribute for this project will be art and other art involved areas. This is due to the fact that I'm not the best artist and I strive to be the best programmer. And also, I said here I need to carry out extensive experimentation and research into digital art, and I should avoid taking concept art. So obviously, I did stick to that, and I did carry out this extended research from my research report, and also experimentation further into it, and I'm very happy with the results that I gathered. So if we move back up to what was on a minute ago, weekly devlog here. So that was most of the weekend that I spent doing this extended research. I didn't do that within any college time or anything because I also wanted that time to implement all the art assets that I needed. And also over the weekend between Sunday and Tuesday, I recorded all of my sounds audio, so I could have more time in college just solely focusing on finishing my playtest session, and also implementing the different features, so the art and the audio, to make sure that it was finally ready for that for the final hand-in, on which was yesterday. Well, it's not the final hand-in, it's the final hand-in for the outcome, and then next week is my final hand-in. But yeah, so going from this, I recorded all of my audio assets, which are here. Let me turn the audio on. Turn it down. There we go. So all these audio assets were recorded by me. So if we take a look at walking, well, take a listen to walking. Obviously, that is me walking across a hard floor, sort of exaggerating the steps a bit. And then if we look at zombie death here, that was a bit loud, but so see, I wanted to, if we look back at my planning documents, more specifically, sound plan, here we go. So obviously I've said here I wanted to play a movement sound, which I have got. I've got two, one for hard surface, which we've listened to, and a loose terrain one, and they will be played, or they are playing, when the player moves across the surface. Player hit, enemy ambience, we all have here. So player death, zombie walk, door, anything really, player hit, zombie. So this is the ambience zombie. Really nice effect, that one. Quite like that one. It's quite fun to make. But obviously, going from this, I have that all the audio assets were recorded by me, and they will be available in my development videos here on this Google Drive. So obviously I think I showed you this before, and I said I'd upload it to my website, so it's all available. It's now on the website, and everything is here. So obviously here are some art assets that I designed, and we'll see resolving problems, etc. But if we look here, this obviously links to what I did last week, of my art assets. So we used the ring effect here, different hue shifting, etc. See a very nice effects on this building. So if we zoom out, that's what it looked like. That's what it looks like within the game. It's at that scale, and all buildings follow a similar design, obviously with varying vegetation growth, door placement, window sort of destruction. So obviously there's some windows are still intact, some aren't, some are missing a panel, some are cracked, etc. And that just to give it the variation in environment throughout the game. And if we take a look at the actual game, website. So I see here I've evidenced all the different versions of my game, alpha to final. So here's my final build. So I've said here, expands on the beta version by completing the artwork, audio, and also amending and improving all elements that I said I would amend during the playtest session. So if we look at the game first, and come back to what I retrieved in the playtest session. So if we turn this all the way down, put that on mute. So as you can see, it's definitely improved from last week, because obviously I've now finished the game. It's still a finished state. So obviously the mouse works still. I improved that, so it's consistent. Also got the background in. You can see here, well, wait till we get to the map. As you can see here, I've added the borders, the sort of blockades I was achieving, which I think I said about last week. Can't remember, but yeah. So they have final artwork, roads, etc. So if we have a look at the game, I'll actually find it firstly. This works now, so sound effects can be changed in volume, music can be changed in volume. We can mute the audio there, so it's muted now. Turn the hints on. So it says take a look at the game. So it's definitely changed from last week. Following feedback that I gathered, I found that most people found that let's have a look. Playtest feedback, here we go. Most people found problems with the game. Here we go. I struggled somewhat with movement. I don't know why. They suggested that I used 8-bit directional movement. So if we take a look, I have actually used 8-bit movement here. See, okay, 8-bit movement. I don't know. They obviously don't know what. I don't know how they got mixed up between movement, but you know, if they did. So here they said I struggled finding the correct door to use the key on. Some people said not the most clear when it comes to where to go, and the code was too hard to find. I was only able to see the code. And then if we go back down here, not that one. So some people said, if you have the hints on, then yes. If not, then no. And then somebody said they love the hints. If you want a challenge, you go with the hints. If you're not, then go without the hints. So it was a bit mixed bag of reviews in terms of where people understood where to go. So I took the feedback here and I come to the conclusion that I should add what sort of make the hints bar more visible. So I've added this background here, just to make the hints sort of stand out because people are not understanding where to go. How do you not understand where to go? You've got dialogue and also the hints on if you had them on. Um, yeah, I personally didn't agree with that feedback because I think that there's enough within the dialogue to understand where to go, and also the hints are there just to give the player some sort of guidance. And if you don't want to play with them, then have them off. You don't walk into like here we go. Look, to enter the shop on the right. You can't be more clear as to where to go. Um, but what I was saying was you don't go into say let's pick a game. Resident Evil. Also, I've been mentioning this quite a bit this past week. But they have hints within their game, but it doesn't specifically specify as to where to go because obviously you want that challenge within the game. You don't want us to be guided through a game. So what's the point of having, oh look, we should go here, let's point a big arrow at here. And I felt that the feedback I gathered here, I came to the conclusion that, I don't really want the game to feel as if you're being guided, if that makes sense. Because obviously it's a game at the end of the day. You're the player, you're meant to be playing through the game, not being told where to go and what to do. So yeah, so that was mostly what I took from that, and I didn't change the hints or anything. I just added that green bar there to make them more visible, really. So if we move forward here, you can see implementation of my artwork. So also you've got the dithering effect here to give that nice little sort of crack within the road. I've added the particle effects for the fires and also dithering again there. If we look at the building here, if we come, we'll actually look on the way out, but we can see the roof and also the windows there. So if we go in, just going to skip through the level. Here we go. So change the bin. It's got more sort of shading to it. Same with the wood counter here. You can see the wood sort of grain as excuse me, the wood grain, and also the benches here. You've got a nice little shading effect there to give it seem as if there is height to the object, and also nice little cracks there. So one thing people did find was that the code was hard to find. I don't know what was going wrong there, but I've made it as clear as possible. So obviously last week this was just the plain, well, plain block, if you will, here, and also you can see the code there, also without the 3 there, but 5, 7, and I've made it very, very clear what this is here. This is obviously the 3 that comes directly out from that there, so it can't be clearer than that. Here I've also changed the design of the shelves, sort of environmental objects, because people found that there wasn't enough. So obviously I've updated the textures for them. Oh, where's the key? 1 second. Actually, I don't need it, do I? But here we go. So zombies now have animations, and also the boxes, etc., have artwork to them. Same with the doors and the stairs. So if we go to key lock here, and this can't be any clearer at all. Enter code, press Q. People were getting stumbling upon what they had to do. I don't know if it was whether they was playing with hints off, but it does clearly state in my how to play menu the control layout, and if they don't read that, then that's not my fault, you know. So I didn't change anything in terms of hints, etc., because I can't make it clear enough. So yeah, skip through this. So people were getting stumbling up on this as well. They were trying to click the keys. Also, I know that would be logical, but it clearly says here, click on white box and use keyboard to input code. And people weren't understanding that, and they were saying, "Oh, we can't progress past the first level because I can't enter the code." If you clearly read there, it clearly says click on white box and use keyboard to input code. And also on the start screen, I said hints are on. If you don't want them on, you can turn them off. If you want more of a challenge, then keep them off. And I said, for your first playthrough, I would recommend that you keep hints on. So it's not really my fault if they didn't follow that advice. You know what I mean? Because I've made it clear as possible that the control scheme, the layout, how the game works, etc., and how to interact with objects through hints. So I can't make it any clearer than that. So I haven't made any changes from that feedback. So code entered, etc. Okay. So if we go down here, so nice. I've changed the flooring. No, I haven't changed the flooring. I've changed the stairs. Okay. Let's just get him. So another thing that the playtesters found was that they didn't find the X key to be a good choice for combat. So when I used to press the X key, the weapon used to fire. But now I've changed it to spacebar. They found that the X key wasn't sort of intuitive. It wasn't sort of a natural choice for attacking. But yet again, if you read the read the how to play menu, it states that use the X button for attack. But people was confused of what button was attack. So yeah, I just changed it to spacebar to remove any confusion there. So if we press the spacebar now, there we go. Animations still play, etc. If we progress through, let me see that. So okay, inventory works. So another thing they found was that it was very hard to click on objects in inventory. So I've changed the what do you call it, hitboxes, so they're larger, so it's much easier to click on objects now. As you can see, it's quite smooth, fluid, etc. So yeah, that was another piece of feedback that I agreed with and implemented the change. Same with the health pack here. I can click anywhere in the box and it will regenerate my health. Just another quick, easy fix, just for the sort of quality of life the game. So if we go to the end here, out the door. How did you complete that? Never mind. Jesus, what's wrong with me? So here, people found that they didn't know where to go. So I added more text in here. Head to the building in the centre of the row of buildings ahead. Can't make it any more clear than that. You know, as I said earlier, I want there to be a challenge within the game, and people just weren't understanding that. So as you can see here, you can see the shop sign. Just see the building is completely different to that building there. So yeah, but obviously that's the shop. Different buildings here. So even that design is different to that design here. You can see the roof, shading effects. So this is how I've utilised my pixel art experimentation. Yeah, so if we go into the next level, just to give you a nice brief look at the so here we go. So here we go. Centre of the row of houses ahead. 1, 2, 3. There's only 3 buildings. Definitely got to be the centre one. Don't know why people were confused, but yeah, they were. So I just made it as clear as possible. Go to this building here. So as you can see here, I've also updated the water in the sewer. So it's got a nice sort of shift and shades to it. It starts out sort of lighty darky green, sort of like zombie green. There we go. Sort of like yeah, zombie sort of typical zombie green. Then it goes darker into sort of dark patches, and I've also layered another water object sprite on top just to give it a nice wavy effect there, as you can see, sort of passing over It's a really good sort of effect. So not much has changed in the functionality of this level, so we're just going to sort of go ahead. Obviously I've changed the art assets, etc. Nothing else major. It is literally, this week was probably easiest week in terms of development in the game, because also I was only just fixing bugs and obviously adding art, audio, etc. So yeah, I really like that pan effect. It's really cool. But anyway, so I'll probably leave that there. Um, but yeah, it's nothing really changed there. So if we close that, so obviously looking at the feedback that I gathered, most people, which I'm really happy about, found that the pixel art was perfect, good, well designed, colours work well. I like how the pixel art is, I like the different animations, details on code panel, so they understood what the code panel was. I feel like setting the properties. Yeah, so one person said that I should prioritise pixel art for the game to make it feel smoother. Um, didn't sort of change that because I wanted that sort of retro sort of feel to the game, and that's what I said back in my idea generation, that I wanted to be sort of a retro style. Um, so by adding this smooth pixel art, it would just take away from the feeling of the game. And they were the only person to mention that, so I didn't change it, and I made a decision there that I would not change the sort of properties of the game. One person also said that the scaling was a little bit too large for them. See, I don't think that is an issue, um, because obviously you can't have the player being really tiny, because you won't be able to see him. And also the scaling, I think, works very well in terms of scaling in levels, because if you look at the first level, the character can neatly fit on that chair within the shop, and obviously if I was to change the scale of the character, I'd have to change the scale of every single building, every single level. And as I said, they're the only person to actually mention that, because this person here said I found the pixel art to be perfect. It was all right scaling proportion. So I was getting contradicting responses, and I came to the decision that, do I really need to change the scaling? Because I think it works well. This person thinks it works well, and out of all the responses here, only one person out of the 8 mentions scaling issue. So I made the decision not to change anything based on that. So that was my final decision from that. So if we look at what I plan to do, yeah. So here we go. It's opened my eyes to some improvements. See, I would make amendments for hints in my game, so that's where I added the green background, adding more environmental models. So I obviously added um, chairs, etc. To the game. Finishing artwork. Also, I did finish artwork. I just improved upon it, and also changing the attack kit to spacebar and adding more dialogue to when the player finishes level 1. So as I mentioned earlier, people were getting confused after finishing level 1 as to where to go. So I did some dialogue, progressed to the centre house in the next row of buildings. Yeah, and also I've been making yeah. So as I said there, I should be making other small improvements that I may not have mentioned in the conclusion here. But yeah, so that was about all for the week. So if we go back to that, okay, make sure I haven't missed anything. devlog 4. Here we go. So it was a very short week because I wasn't in Thursday because of GCSE exams. But obviously I was at home creating the document that you just reviewed now about the feedback, what I would do, etc. And I started to implement the changes. And then obviously Friday I finished the game in the build that it is now, which obviously that one we viewed a little while ago. But nothing else has really changed that much this week, except obviously I have been updating my Gantt chart. So you can see it has progressed very well from last week. So very well, very far from last week. So obviously I finished the playtest, analysed the feedback, resolved any bugs, polished the game, and I've finished the actual build of the game. So next week, which is my final week, I'll be moving into post-production, and post-production just goes through identifying bugs from that final version just to create that very last iteration. So that's why I've named this version here version 1, because more than likely I'm going to create another version. And also I've got to conduct a post-mortem and final evaluation, which is basically a post-mortem. That will take quite a while. That's where I'll be looking through the whole project, looking at ups, downs, what I can do to improve, what I can apply to next year, ultimately what I could have improved throughout the project, and evidencing how I have utilised, experimentation, research, etc., into my final outcome in order to achieve the position I am now, which I'm very happy about, because I have been able to produce a very high quality standard of work within this project, and it's just really taught me a lot of things, really, that obviously I'll write about in my weekly journals, and also that final evaluation about what I would like to apply next year, what has this project taught me, and also what I won't be doing next year. So learning from my mistakes, and yeah, just finishing the project, really. So next week will probably be a busy week. I probably might conduct another peer review session, maybe. Probably just looking at improvements just within that identifying bug stages, just to make sure that the game is 100% ready for the final outcome, final evaluation here. We'll see, it's not here, I haven't written it yet, but that's where it will be. So yeah, that's probably how next week will pan out, and also just how I will apply things going forward into next year. So I think that is pretty much it for this final weekly devlog video, and I'll see you next year in my next FMP. So till then, bye.